For most of your life, society sells you a very specific pipeline. Spend 12 years in school, another 4 in college, and maybe even a few more in graduate school. The promise is that you will come out the other side highly intelligent and immediately employable. Instead, the modern reality looks quite different. You spend a decade in the education pipeline only to find yourself sitting at home, writing grammatically perfect Reddit posts about how you can't get a job. When we say we want to get smarter, we usually mean something highly practical. We want to acquire skills that generate money. We want to solve complex problems efficiently. And we want to speak about difficult subjects in social situations, earning respect without sounding like an insufferable nerd. Because a traditional diploma rarely guarantees this functional intelligence, it creates a massive vacuum. People realize they are missing the practical tools to navigate the world, so they desperately turn to the internet for a quick fix. The internet usually offers 2 extremes to fill that vacuum. The first is deeply philosophical advice. It sounds nice, but it is so incredibly vague that the only people who have the time and resources to actually apply it are ancient philosophers and Oprah. The second extreme is a relentless list of passive biological hacks. Eat more blueberries. Drink black coffee. Listen to classical music while you sleep. The assumption is that you can magically upgrade your brain's processing power through digestion alone. These biological shortcuts are about as useful as staring at a quote spray-painted on a subway wall and hoping you absorb wisdom. At some point, you actually have to sit down and acquire real data. True intelligence is not a passive biological state you can trigger with superfoods. It requires a specific, active, mechanical effort to acquire knowledge and lock it into your memory. The first step in this mechanical process is actively pulling dense information into your brain, and you do that through targeted reading. The type of book you choose dictates the outcome. Fiction is excellent for building reading speed and expanding your vocabulary, but nonfiction acts as your actual database. It provides the hard facts required to build an arsenal of conversational knowledge. If you want to acquire that data as fast as humanly possible, traditional textbooks are the ultimate S-tier format. They entirely remove the narrative fluff and hand-holding you find in popular bestsellers, forcing you to engage directly with pure facts and demanding practice questions. Acquiring a massive density of facts is only the initial step. Raw data in your head is useless if deploying it aloud alienates every person you speak to. Once you start acquiring new knowledge, there is an immediate, dangerous temptation to walk around correcting people. Imagine someone mentions how crazy it is that humans evolved from chimpanzees. If you interrupt them with, well, actually, evolution is nonlinear and no human-like species could even be remotely considered chimpanzees, you instantly become the most unlikable person in the room. The functional approach is humility. Frame your new knowledge as a recent discovery rather than a sign of your innate superiority. Let the listener learn it alongside you. Say something like, I always thought we evolved from them too, but I was reading the other day that we evolved side by side. You are teaching people what you know without diminishing their intellect. This converts raw facts into social capital, making others see you as respectable rather than obnoxious. You have the data and you know how to talk about it, but you still face a biological hurdle. Your brain runs a strict deletion protocol, automatically erasing new information unless it immediately proves useful. This learning curve graph shows how to bypass deletion. Notice you only need 20% of the knowledge to master 80% of the skill. You make massive progress initially. The catch is you must lock that progress in. The only way to stop your brain from forgetting is to physically practice the skill in the real world immediately after reading the chapter. However, physical application isn't always possible on demand. When you can't practice a skill by touching real objects, you must rely on mental simulation. If you read a manual on jump-starting a dead car, mentally strand yourself at night. Vividly imagine the exact steps of connecting jumper cables. By simulating a high-stakes scenario, you trick your brain into categorizing the information as critical for survival. This high-stakes simulation is exactly how the traditional school system forces retention. An exam is simply an artificial scenario designed by your teacher with stakes high enough to make your brain attempt to hold on to the data. If you bypass physical practice and fail to manufacture a high-stakes mental simulation, your brain's deletion protocol will systematically erase every single thing you just learned. Getting smart is not determined by a genetic baseline. It is an active, ongoing mechanical loop of data input and immediate real-world utility. No diet of blueberries and no amount of passive reading will ever override your brain's biological requirement for application. Pick a topic you want to understand. Find a zero-fluff textbook, read a single chapter, and immediately force your brain to use that exact data today. Intelligence comes down to execution. If you can invent a scenario where you absolutely need the knowledge, you will never lose it.